Hey, what's going on, everyone? Just trying to test this out. I apologize. Trying to make this screen a little bit bigger. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Just trying to test this out. Trying to make this screen a little bigger. Just trying to test this out. Okay, I think we're. The audio's not working. Sorry, like I said, first time, guys. I apologize. All right, like I said, if you guys can hear me, let me know. I appreciate it. I haven't done the YouTube live before. You can probably hear me in the back. So, anyway, like I said, guys, welcome. Welcome in. All right, like I said, hopefully it's working here. First time doing the live stream. All right, so like I said, a lot of news has kind of broke since we looked at it last. Nothing too crazy. Kind of what I was expecting though um, for Phoenix, right? Green's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play in this one. Like I said, Booyah comes into play, or however you say his name. All right. But yeah, like I said, sorry guys, trying to get this all going. But yeah, like I said, I still think he's a really good value play. Like I said, I don't expect Green to be playing in this one. He's doubtful, and like I said, with an injury on a back to back like that, the chances of him playing is pretty low. So I don't mind filling out with him. Colin Gillespie should be in a really good spot. Grayson Allen's questionable, probably not going to play in this one. So you have to look at Booyang and Gillespie in this one. Um, I think Ryan Dunn does come into play. I think he gets some minutes here. So we'll just have to see. But 3,700 with a guy that's been playing mid 20s. The only thing that sucks is his upside. His usage rate is terrible, but he should be getting a ton of minutes here. And like I said, guys, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you guys can always leave them in the comment section below. Like I said, this is the first live stream, so it's going to take a little bit to get into it. But if you guys have any questions or, should I pick this guy? Should I pick this guy? We'll let you know. We're just going to kind of, go through like we did earlier in the video, Charlotte and Washington. I guess we'll go look at here for you guys. We have a 222, 11.5. So, like I said, nothing too much has changed from this one either. Not too into LaMelo tonight. I think Brandon Miller and Con Knuckle are in pretty spots. As normal, Washington defense is just not that great. We like targeted them. Only bad thing is is it going to be a blowout? It definitely might. But Washington has been playing a little bit closer, I guess. But as you can see with this defense, it's absolutely horrendous. So, like I said, Con Knuckle, Miller are going to be good pieces to build around here. Um, I just don't see anybody else from that side. And like I said, over here on the Washington Wizards side of things, Champagny is still questionable. George is still questionable. So we'll just, like I said, I need to see what's going on with those guys because there's definitely some value plays to go on over there. But yeah, like I said, Vucevic is still questionable. So Washington really could be down bad. If George and a lot of these guys are out, then I'll probably have less of Charlotte because it's going to be a blowout. But yeah, I mean, if Keyshawn, Justin, Champagny are out, Vucevic, I mean, like I said, Kalabali should come into play. Will Riley, not sure why he stopped really playing, but he was popping off here. But um, maybe Riley gets a run, but looks like they're really playing Williams at 5,400. Like I said, you can take a shot with him. I expect him to be pretty popular today, but um, looks like for the most part, Washington's kind of just playing these guys wherever. 5,100 here for Trey Johnson. Still not playing big minutes. It just sucks. Like this guy has so much upside, but they just don't play him. So um, nothing too crazy from this Washington side unless I get some like I said, we need some news on what's going on with these guys because there definitely is a little bit of value. You can also look at Anthony Gill if you want to. He's really not usually the guy I would go to, but if Vucevic and Justin Champagny are out, you got to look at Gill here at only 4,000. So, like I said, still haven't got too much of that injury news. Getting a lot of the early stuff. Gafford, Christie, all those guys are out. But Yeah, kind of the same news from that one. We'll go over Boston and the Lakers again for you guys. Like I said, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, I appreciate it. Leave a like. Like I said, we're the first one here, so hopefully we can get it all figured out. So, Boston Lakers, as I mentioned in the video, I mean, it's just not the greatest matchup here for LA, but it's supposed to be a pretty good total on paper. So, I mean, like I said, 229, one half still. So I think this could be the game that you're really going to load up on. I think these guys are in really good spots um, for Boston. Like I said, small forward shooting guards is where LA really does struggle at. They struggle at point guards as well. So as I mentioned before, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, those guys should be in a pretty good spot. And also, like I said, Lakers give up a couple three balls, 3.1, 3.5 to shooting guards and small forwards. So should be a good pace of game as well. And like I said, Boston looked really good against Golden State the other day. But Derek White at 8,000, a guy that can get you 38-40. I think he's priced right where he should be in a good spot. I will take Derek White over Pritchard if you had the pick, just because Pritchard has been absolute dominant. He has, and the best thing about him, if you guys see the last couple of trends is here is his rebounds and assists are up as well, and he's shooting the ball. So I really don't mind either one. I think both of them should be in a good spot. I'll take Derek White here, but I expect Pritchard to be a little bit more owned. And like I said, the other bad thing is his turnovers 5 and 4. So if he only gets you a normal day, let's say he only gets you 32 with 4 turnovers, you're going to go back down to your 20. So turnover's been a little bit of an issue for him, and like I said, if Baylor starts in this one, which we'll see if they got him projected. They got him projected. As I mentioned, I really don't mind him. Shooting guards are pretty good against LA. He's not going to play, like said, a ton of minutes, but if you get you 24, 25 minutes at 4,000, like I said, I'm trying to find you guys some value. He's more of a GPP play value. I wouldn't put him in your main GPP, in your main value option. Just more of a guy that maybe something happens. But Jaylen Brown at 97 should absolutely pop off in this one. This should be a good spot. And so, like I said, him, Luca, both these stars should definitely come out to play in this one. And yeah, not really messing with Vukovic or Kata much. They're splitting too many minutes, and like I said, Lakers are one of the best defenses against the center position, so really don't want to be messing around too much, like I said, in that area of things. Yeah, I just don't have too much from anywhere else down low for Boston. But the main guys that I'd be looking at, like I said, is Derek White, Pritchard, and Brown, and then a little bit of Baylor. Moving on to the Lakers side of things, like I said, not much has really changed here. Going to be looking at Luka and LeBron and Austin, right? The main guys. Defense is really good for Boston, but if it's a 229, they're expecting it to be a close game here. So don't mind, like I said, loading up your stars on that one. Philadelphia and Minnesota. As I mentioned earlier, I don't really have a ton of Sixers. It's a 239.59 and a half. It was an 8.5 when I did the video. So yeah, just not too much from the Philly side. On the Minnesota side of things, though, like I said, there's definitely a lot that we can do. Naz Reid is now questionable, and that was a late ad, so we need to keep an eye on that one because that is obviously a massive injury right there with Rudy Gobert already being out. So guys like McDaniels and Randall could even get more usage and a couple more rebounds if Naz Reid is out. I'm also very intrigued to see how Minnesota starts. That's also going to be a big one. Let's just say for some weird reason, like I said, Naz Reid and Rudy are out. Maybe they start Jonah here. I'm not sure how you say his name, but I just don't know where they're gonna go. I mean, if he starts, as you can see, 29, 23 minutes, when he gets minutes, he can definitely pop off. But I don't know if they're gonna go that way. They might go small with Randall at center, and then they're gonna go McDaniels. And then they might go put in I use a Desamnu or something at small forward. I could see them doing that and going a little bit smaller since Joel Embiid's probably not going to be playing in this one. So if that is the case and Ayu Desamnu starts for some reason at 49, then yeah, I mean that's another good option as well. Gets obviously a boost. So we'll just have to see what the Minnesota Timberwolves do. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but that starting rotation is definitely going to be um, something that we're going to want to look at. And then, like I said, Anthony Edwards going to be one of the top plays. if you're playing cash games, you got to go Jaylen Brown over Anthony Edwards just because of the closer game. But I think if you're doing GPPs and higher upside, it has to be Anthony Edwards here, right? Potentially no Naz Reid, right? No Rudy Gobert. You're taking on a Philly team that doesn't have, Joel Embiid, and they're on a back-to-back. So, like I said, I'm just worried about with Edwards is the blowout. That's the only thing I would be worried about. But with Naz Reid and Rudy being out, maybe this game becomes a little bit more competitive. So yeah, Edwards probably has the most upside on today's slate. Like I say, guys, if you guys have any questions or if you're enjoying the video, leave a like. We appreciate it. And like I said, if things are a little bit choppy, like I said, it's the first live stream, so I do apologize. But like I said, you guys can interact if you guys, have any, plays that you guys want me to break down or whatever. Definitely let me know. And then, like I said, for the Minnesota side, sorry, Philadelphia side, if I had to pick anybody, probably got to be looking at Andre Drummond. You got to look at him. Centers, like I said, they're not the greatest at with Rudy being gone. They're a little worse. Rudy wasn't the greatest this year, but still not too bad. But yeah, 52.1% field goal percentage given up to centers, and also 13.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks. So this is definitely one spot that you could look at here if you want to go Drummond. But also, like I said, it's a back-to-back here. So we only played 21 minutes. So either A, he plays 27, 28 minutes here on the back-to-back, and he's in a good spot, or they only play him like 15, 20 minutes, and guys like Bonner and Watford on a back-to-back might get a couple more minutes. As I said, Bonner's really dang cheap still at only 3,900. But I just, you don't know what's going to happen. Drummond definitely could play a full game, or he could, not play a full game because, like I said, Drummond's a bigger dude, right? Usually you got Rudy and Naz Reid. If both those guys are out, they're going to be a little bit smaller. And, Bona's a really good defensive player and a little bit more mobile than Drummond. So we'll just have to see what's going on. But Minnesota does affect this side of things here for Philadelphia as well. So Bona definitely could come into play if those guys are out. Portland and Phoenix. We slightly already went over this one, but we have a 222. Nothing's changed from this one, 3.5 spread. But yeah, I mean, I'm really looking at Phoenix, and I expect them to be really, relatively popular in this one. Let's go look at that Portland defense here again for you guys. And as you see here, this defense is just not good at all. And Phoenix is really hurt right now, right? Green's questionable, Allen's questionable. I don't expect these guys to play here on the back-to-back. Brooks is already out, Booker's out, Goodwin's out, right? So they have so many injuries over here for Phoenix. So as I mentioned before, Colin Gillespie got to be one of your main guys. Even if he comes off the bench, Boya, then he's still in a good spot at 3,800. I mean, it's terrible. I don't know if I need to go down to Dunn, but you could if you wanted to. It's just usage rate sucks. Royce O'Neal might step up a little bit. I mean, like I said, it's taking on Portland, so someone's got to score here for Phoenix. Maybe Ozo picks up a little bit, but his usage rate's not really that high. But he's a half decent play. So there's a lot of value over here for Phoenix. I don't know if it's great value. Some of it's not. Same thing with Mark Williams. I don't expect him to play a ton of minutes. I mean, shoot, if anything, I could see, I'm not going to pronounce his name. I could see him, getting a couple minutes. He's very productive in his minutes, but that's only if Williams was announced out. I saw this guy in the summer league. This guy can ball if you get some minutes. So, but that's mostly it. Going to be targeting the guards here for the Phoenix side. Portland, like I said, it's only 3.5, so I don't know. I don't really need a ton of Portland guys. It's definitely a slower pace game here for them. But as I mentioned before on my video, if Denny Avila is out at all in this one, I am all over Donovan and Klingon still. Like I said, Klingon has been affected a little bit by the Denny Avila effect with the rebounds. But if he's out, then Klingon, like I said before, I think he can definitely get back to 38, 40, 45 fantasy points in this one here against Phoenix. Because like I said, Phoenix is tired, and that's one spot that they definitely could struggle at. And same thing, with Robert Williams, if Denny Avila's out, you can go put in Robert Williams if you want in the GPP. But just remember with this guy, he only plays about 18, 19 minutes, kind of a Mitchell Robertson. And but sometimes this guy can absolutely pop off. So that's only if you're, like I said, feeling a little risky in 150 lineups. hopefully you guys are enjoying the live stream. I appreciate it. Like I said, leave a like if you guys are enjoying. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, you guys can always leave it down there in the comment section below, and I'll definitely answer them. So, moving on a little bit again here to New York and Chicago, 233, 10.5. So, Mitch Robertson is already out in this one, and we'll see. I just expect this one to like be a blowout, or it's either going to be a blowout or somehow Chicago is going to make this a game. So, I mean, if you're going GPPs, you could stack the Chicago side of things. I know that does not sound great, but I could see, New York coming out slightly flat in this one after a really competitive game yesterday against Houston. Um, I mean, I think if anybody, maybe some Josh Hart, right? Wasn't that he has just been terrible last couple games. Usage rate is terrible. Rebounds is nice, right? But just need a little bit more usage rate. So maybe fade him, but also I could see him being at zero ownership and going off for like 35, 40. So just trying to find some different plays today. I just don't really care for any of these other guys. Brunson just looked horrendous yesterday. I'm so glad I didn't pick him in single game. Um, got Jose Alvarado, right? Another guy. He's not going to play big minutes, but $4,000, a guy that could have good upside. But with Brunson, I don't know. With Brunson having a bad game yesterday, I expect him to have a half decent game here today. So I don't think Jose Alvarado is going to be too into this offense here today. All right, moving on to the Orlando and Clippers side of things here. The last game of the night at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 2:14, 2.5 here by the Clippers. So I think Kawhi's still questionable, right? We're not going to really hear anything from him until probably about 5:30, just before lock. So um, let's see. Okay, so yeah, Kawhi Leonard's still questionable. Collins is out in this one. You got a projected lineup done: Kobe, Leonard, Derek Jones, and Brooke Lopez. So I do expect Kawhi to hopefully play in this one. I mean, it's a 214, 2.5 spread, so I expect Kawhi to play because they wouldn't be favored if Vegas thinks he's not playing. There's no back to back here for Kawhi, so I mean, I'm still going to be looking at Brooke Lopez and Derek Jones. I think those are both those guys you got to look at. I know it's a slower game, but those guys have a little bit of value to them just because of the John Collins news. Orlando power forward, they do struggle: 51.8% field goal percentage, 10.5 rebounds as well, and slightly struggle against centers: 51% field goal, 14 rebounds, and a couple blocks as well, 2.2. So this could be, like I said, a half decent spot for guys like Brooke Lopez. Um, and then it's going to be a half decent spot for guys like Derek Jones Jr. as well. So 5,200, right? Brooke Lopez playing about 28, 30 minutes, and just being a pretty dang good player here for the Clippers. So 5,200, probably one of the better value plays, well, mid-range value plays of the slate at 52. Derek Jones, like I said, usage rate has been coming up on this guy. Shot 15 times and looking not bad the last couple games. So even if Kawhi Leonard plays, I still don't mind Derek Jones to get you about 25 to 26 fantasy points in cash games. Um, Another one you can look at off the bench is Benedict Mathurin. He would be more beneficial, obviously, if Kawhi Leonard is out. But you can't deny this dude's usage rate is absolutely insane over here. And shooting guards is one of the better spots for Orlando, so that's the only thing there. If Leonard's out, I'll probably play Benedict and some GPPs. If Leonard does play, I don't know. I don't think Benedict can get it done here tonight. And then you got Chris Dunn is normal. He's an okay option, but there's better plays out there for sure. All right, so like I said, we'll go do a little skeleton lineup for you guys. Like I said, if you guys have any questions or anything, like I said, feel free to ask. It's totally fine. So we'll go do two different types of builds for you guys. We're going to do a cash game build and a GPP build. The difference between the two: cash game is more guys that have a higher floor. So say for guys like Luca, Maxi, right? And then GPPs is guys that have a low floor but very high upside and low ownership. So first we're going to try to, like I said, get you guys a rough draft of a cash game lineup. I haven't really looked at any of my projections yet, so this is just going off, like I said, my head. But I don't think you really need any of these guys here. I mean, if you want to spend up for Luca, like I said, you can. Like I said, it's not an easy matchup, but Luca looked really rested last time out at 12. 12 threes, not too bad of a price for a guy that can go get you 65, 70. Um, he looked rested against Clippers. I would expect about the same here for Luka. So I think in cash games, you have to look at Luka. He is very dang expensive, though. Another one that you can look at is Jalen Suggs as well. I totally forgot to mention the Orlando side of things real quick. So Suggs, if he plays in a good spot, if Suggs is out again, like I said, you can go look at Javon Carter at 3,800, kind of getting the backup minutes here the last couple games. So keep an eye on Suggs. That's going to be another valued play to look at. But if Suggs does play, shoot, he's not bad spot at low ownership. All right, I mean, I really do like Derek White if you can get him in there. Um, okay, yeah, okay. This is cash games. Okay, so we're gonna go Colin Gillespie. We got 5,900. I'm a GPP player, so I just want to go through all the GPP plays. Um, like I said, keep an eye on Chicago. I don't think they're going to rest any more of their dudes, but I think Simons was already announced out. Let's just say Giddey and Trey Jones randomly's out, then Sexton comes into play. Like I said, Dunn's in a half decent spot. If Ayu to Somnu's in the starting lineup at all, as I mentioned, if Naz Reid is out and they start Ayu at, let's say, shooting guard, small forward, you got to put him in there at 4,900. Not too high on Grimes tonight. There's Baylor at 4,000. Not the greatest cash game, cheap option though. So let's go. Um, you can always double up with Peyton Pritchard if you want to in this one. If not, Dante's an okay option, but there's really not a lot of good options here. So I think just for the cash games, we're going to go Chris Dunn for 24 to 26 fantasy points. I need to save a little bit of salary there. It's so hard with Luka in here. I mean, I'll try to get Brown, but I don't think I can get him in here. That would be more of a GPP play. So we're gonna get rid of Brown just for this one. Try to go get Derek White. That puts you at 5,600. Like I said, Jade McDaniels at 61 is an intriguing play. He really, really is. So I think you can put him in there in cash games, especially with the Naz Reid injury. Derek Jones at only 4,900, going to be more of a, like I said, cash game option there for you guys. So since we're trying to save a little bit of money, probably go McDaniels. And then, it's hard to get Luka in there, isn't it? Without going too GPP with things. I think Grant Williams is still worth a look at 4,800. He's going to be in the starting lineup here again. And this guy's usage rate is pretty good. And like I said, Washington's, I'm not too afraid of him. So as long as Bridges is out, then I think you can continue putting in Grant Williams here, at only if he starts, of course. You can go Royce O'Neal, like I said. It's back to he played a frick ton of minutes last night. I mean, you could probably go back to the well there, and then it gives you 7,800 to go get your boy Donovan Clingan. So there's kind of a cash game lineup for you. Luka Doncic, obviously main cash, huge upside. Colin Gillespie has a good upside with, like I said, all the injuries going on over there with Phoenix. Dunn's an okay cash game play, like I said, 24, 25. That's where he usually sits. Doesn't have a high ceiling, so that's why he's more of a cash game play. Derek White, 38 to 40. If you want to go down to Pritchard and change your lineup up a little bit, you can. Derek Jones should be in a really good spot. I think Clingan, like I said, is in one of the best spots. If you don't want to go Clingan and change up your lineup a little bit, you can definitely go to Brooke Lopez, as we mentioned. And then that can, change up things a little bit here for your power forward position. That gives you a guy like a Josh Hart or something like that. And like I said, if you're doing cash games, if you do want to get Randall in there, I know we're 1,000 short, but we can definitely change up that lineup. So yeah, I really don't mind looking at cash games here. And then to go kind of get a GPP lineup for you guys here in this one, we're gonna go a little bit different. I like Derek White. I do. I think that he's in a good spot here. I really don't mind doubling down here. Well, actually, we're doing GPPs. I apologize. Okay, GPP. So, like I said, this is if Grayson Allen and Jalen Green are officially ruled out. That's the only way that I would put in Booyah here, in some GPPs. And the shooting guard, like I said, shooting guard. Oh man, I love both of these guys. If you can get them in there, that drops you down a little bit though. Small forward. Let's see what we got. But like I said, both those guys are in good spot. I think you can still go the well with Derek Jones here. Go put in Brook Lopez. He's good in cash games and GPPs. And then power forward position only gives you 5,900. So that doesn't give you too much. I mean, I really don't mind going back to the well with Grant Williams. And then that gives you, if Naz Reid plays, that's a pretty good spot. Like I said, if you don't want to go that way, if you're, think a blowout's going to happen, well, I'm going to go put in Randall, so a slightly cheaper. But like I said, I think these guys should be in good spots. Randall, I really am only going to put him in there if Naz Reid is out. That's just the way that it's going to have to be. And then in this area, like I said, Austin Reeves should have half decent usage rate. Brandon Miller, though, taking on Washington, I know he's been absolutely horrendous, but this is a guy that I think could pop off here. Turnovers have been terrible the whole year, but um, that's kind of the build that I'm looking at. I mean, you could definitely. Was there any other cheap centers that I didn't mention? Um, Bona, but that's only depending on what's going on with Minnesota, and like I said, that's deep GPP only. So, um, like I said, that's kind of what we're looking at there. If you guys have any questions, like I said, I see you guys here in the chat. Sorry, I see you guys watching. If you have any questions or anything, like I said, feel free to ask. I'm here to answer them live for you. But for the most part, there's nothing too much else to talk about. We kind of broke down everything for you. Like I said, if you guys want to come join us for a day pass, it's only $6. If you have any questions, like I said, our YouTube videos, our normal ones, have our links. If you guys want to check that out, we have our Twitter and, like I said, also our email as well. So we'd love to have you guys join us. I guess we'll mess around a little bit more here on a GPP. Give you guys a couple more options that we can look at. We'll go really GPP. We're gonna go Luca. We're gonna go. We'll go Gillespie. Well, actually, I'm gonna go Booyah. We're gonna go Gillespie. Oh man, Brown's in such a good spot, but it's so hard to get him in there. Let's see what else we got. Like I said, depending on what's going on with Naz Reid, I think McDaniels could be in a half decent spot. Like I said, you got Derek Jones. There's McDaniels, power forward. Like I said, I'm kind of messing around with these guys in the cheaper area. I really like them, like Derek Jones, Grant Williams, Royce O'Neal. I think those are probably your main cheaper options to be looking at. And then that gives you 6,900 for a small forward. If you really want to get Luke in there, and there's said Josh Hart again, but definitely a lot of different ways to go. I'm really feeling this slate. It's a really good GPP slate. There's just so much value, and like I said, it's really they updated this at all. Yeah, Green and Allen are questionable. Like I said, they even have Ryan Dunn projected starting. So if you really are feeling GPP, you can go that way. But like I said, this guy's usage rate just sucks. I don't like picking Ryan Dunn, but sometimes he can do it. But as you see recently, he's just not been doing great. Even if he gets minutes, he's just there. You know what I'm saying? So there's good value and bad value, and I don't see a ton of good value on that one. I mean, if Ryan Dunn is the starting small forward or power forward, I think Ozo definitely gets a lot more run then, and he becomes a lot more intriguing if Dunn does start. So if you want to get rid of Grant Williams, like I said, he could definitely be in a good spot. that gives you $900 over. You can definitely change up that lineup and do whatever you guys really want to with that one. So, um, but I think that is mostly it. If you guys have any questions, I don't see anything. Um, but like I said, hopefully you guys did enjoy it. It was, a little bit shorter, but there's just so much you can really talk about with how many games, and there hasn't really been any crazy injuries yet. So, um, but yeah, that's mostly it. Like I said, if you guys enjoyed the short live stream, we really do appreciate it. Leave a like on the video. And like I said, if it was a little choppy or whatever it was, I do apologize. Like I said, it's the first one of the year, so just trying to do live streams and get that live stream out there for you guys. So that is mostly it. Doesn't look like there's any more questions. So hopefully you guys have like I said, a really good day today. Like I said, if you guys want to get in on premium, or if you have any questions, like I said, check us out on our Twitter. Just go back to our YouTube videos, and our Twitter will be down there in the comment section below for you guys. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody, and like I said, hope you guys win some money tonight.